Hey everybody, this is Pete Bartolozzi, welcoming you to another Nuggets, Gems, and Pearls from God's Word. Today's pearl is entitled Opening and Hardening Hearts. And I'm going to read from two different passages. First, from Exodus chapter 9, verse 12, where it says, "And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had spoken unto Moses." And then let's look at this other verse in Acts chapter 16, verses 13 and 14. And it says, "On the Sabbath, we went out of the city by the riverside, where prayer was customarily made. And we sat down and spoke unto the women which resorted there. And a certain woman named Lydia, a seller of purple, of the city of Thyatira, who worshipped God, heard us, whose heart the Lord opened, that she attended unto the things that were spoken by Paul." So, do these two verses express that God opens and hardens hearts at his will, implying against the will of the individual? Many use the verse in Exodus to say that God directly hardened the heart of Pharaoh, as though Pharaoh's heart wouldn't have been hardened if God had not done it. This is false understanding of the truth of God's word, and such ideas again are what I call revelationless theology. The Hebrew language does not have the causative or permissive expression. Because of this, one Messianic Jew, a Baptist pastor, told me that the Jews have no concept of causative or permissive from the standpoint of the Hebrew language. From our standpoint, it seems that the Hebrew language is all causative. That is, it seems like God causes everything, good and bad. But often the permissive is being expressed in the context, but because of the Hebrew language, it sounds all causative. But notice what God said in Exodus 3:9. "I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go. No, not by a mighty hand." Here, God foretold Moses that he knew that Pharaoh would not let them go. This reveals that God already knew Pharaoh's heart. He knew that when Moses spoke what God instructed him to say to Pharaoh, "Let my people go," that he would harden his heart at hearing God's word. He already knew the state of Pharaoh's heart. I want to read this article from one minister, and I liked the way it was worded, so I'm just going to read it. It says, "Now, how did he open her heart?" After reading this verses in Acts. "How come only her heart was opened and others' hearts were closed?" It's like somebody said, the same sun that melts wax hardens clay. The same gospel that opens some hearts will shut others because they're not open to it. It's not God's fault. It's not the sun's fault. Some scriptures are a little hard to understand. Some folks say as they read concerning Pharaoh, "I don't understand. The Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart." Well, it isn't right to just make a flat statement making God responsible as an act of his own without considering all the scriptures on the subject for the correct interpretation. God gave Pharaoh a choice. And because he wasn't made of the right material, Pharaoh hardened his own heart. Let's go back to the thought that the same sun which melts wax hardens clay. You see, God extends his love to all. God extends his mercy to all. But the same gospel, the same truths, the same sunshine of his love and mercy, which will open and melt some hearts, will harden others. Is the sun to blame? Is the love of God to blame? Is God to blame? No. The individual is to blame. How wonderful to have a heart that is open toward God, receptive, and willing to be opened. I offer this as something to think about today. Be blessed.